Team, we have a task. Send the 3 on-duty warriors to find infinite power. But they are not fools and asked, why us? The captain stammered, unable to give an excuse. Zio reassured, it's fine, signs are in English, only you understand. But they still worried, so took the mechanic and flight attendant safety in numbers. Save face, the pilot reluctantly agreed. The group saw the harsh truth, an old man lying down, a man in the driver's seat, and students on the school bus all appeared to be dozing. The captain declared the trio war criminals and outlined his plan. They then split up to find fuel and food. He urgently needed the mechanic and flight attendant back to take off soon, but things didn't go smoothly. The mechanic cleverly led the 3 into a room, unaware the clueless attendant would refuse. In a pinch, the mechanic had to ditch the flight attendant and make a run for it. The 3 burst out of the door, guns blazing at the mechanic's car, but failed. Seeing this, the 3 rushed to chase. The flight attendant screamed uselessly, awaiting the death car. And over there, aren't he? Jim first reached the plane, told Beardy the attendant wasn't on board. Time was pressing, everyone knew urgency, no delay. Plane began taxiing. The pilot, learning the flight attendant hadn't boarded, considered stopping. But soldiers fired wildly beside the plane, as if in a movie. Stopping was impossible. The pilot increased power for takeoff. As the plane accelerated, the soldiers had to stop and catch their breath. The only soldier still chasing was determined, but suddenly a passenger shouted he seemed to have discovered something big. The passenger turned it into a horsine, realizing the plane window was shut. He tried to halt takeoff, but it was too late. The pilot found a crack upon inspection. After the pilot's check, he remembered soldiers firing earlier. Unexpectedly, he let passengers observe the crack instead of emergency action. Passengers refused. If the window broke, they'd be Superman in the sky. The pilot said calmly, it's double glazed. However, the major stood up furious and yelled at the pilot, don't fool me. The mutated sun will kill us all. We're all one in the dark. Decisions must be made by a full vote. The pilot wasn't about to back down. The captain said he must be responsible for passengers, while the major just laughed it off, believing weapons meant truth. The pilot, feeling threatened, got fired up and wanted to see if the major would really go for it. Just then, an alarm blared from the cockpit. The pilot rushed to check, leaving the 2 of them in a stalemate. The alarm stopped soon, the 2 baffled. After ruling out false alarm, it rang again. The pilot knew it wasn't accidental. Someone was tampering with the wiring. Kelly disagreed. Who could sneak in from a kilometer high? But the tension was thick. There was indeed a guy who could do that, the soldier chasing the plane. If he sabotaged the circuit, the entire plane would be in jeopardy. The pilots decided to climb to 10,000 meters. The captain intended to freeze the soldier with ultra-low temperature and throw him into the sea, unaware the soldier might still be alive, endangering the cabin passengers. Sudden altitude rise increased cabin pressure, overloading the crack. Passengers felt doom approaching. Tension was intense. Oxygen masks dropped down, and people scrambled to put them on like they were catching a life raft. Seeing this, the pilot hastily retracted the landing gear and lowered the plane, but the turbulence kept on rocking. The mechanic quickly got a metal plate, sealed the window, averting crisis, but trouble keeps coming. A boy with lung issues lost his oxygen tube, and his mum was frazzled, trying to guide him on breathing, but this was clearly a temporary fix. E.T. had a light bulb moment and quickly snipped off a tube from an oxygen mask, frantically searching for something to make. He made 2 small holes in the tube and taped them up, plugged it into the oxygen machine, and voila. The boy could finally. The boy's mom was grateful, showering Beardy with appreciative glances as he felt a warm glow inside. But this turned into an opportunity for the major to strike back. He began blaming the pilot for misjudging the window's strength. The pilot tried to defend himself, but facts are facts, and he returned to the cockpit feeling defeated. He thought the soldier was out, but alarms kept ringing. The pilot inferred the heat kept the soldier alive. Kelly asked next move. The pilot had a bold plan, cut into landing gear via floor to eliminate the soldier. Act now. The major sprang into action with 2 guys slicing through the floor. They were all set to make the breach, but it was pitch black inside. The major let his guard down, and suddenly, a hand shot out, grabbing the weapon and biting his face. Beardy took the weapon and fired into the hole. 3 shots later, all fell silent. The 3 finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, when Beardy returned to the cabin, he was met with strange stares from the. It turned out that while he was burying the passengers, David found him dissecting the body for diamonds. The crowd accused him of body desecration. Beardy claimed he was a patriot bringing national treasures home. The body was just a container. His death had nothing to do with me. But that argument didn't convince anyone. After landing, Jim was busy fixing the broken window while the others began judging Beardy, who faced a barrage of accusations. Beardy braced for being kicked off the plane, but his old rival, the major, surprisingly spoke up for him. The major knew about a safe haven, but wasn't sure where it was. He'd need someone clever like Beardy to help him look for. At this point, Kelly wasn't pleased. Are you saying if we leave him behind, you won't take us to the safe haven? The Major could only guarantee Beardy with his life. If he steps out of line, they'll be thrown off with him. The stakes were high. The pilots initiated a vote, majority spared Beardy. Everyone cheered at the news of his shelter. However, the joy was short-lived as the plane suddenly dropped. Telly rushed to the cockpit, finding the pilot dozing.